Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing well today, that you're enjoying your Saturday. We woke up to a little bit of snow and rain and lots of wind. Now the sun looks like it's out. We may get more snow later, more rain, something. I'm praying for snow because we really need it. We really need the rain or snow, but I prefer the snow now because it'll last a little longer and won't dry up so fast. But whatever God gives us, I'm grateful for. I'm using the cup that my brother gave me for Christmas. Fueled by Jesus and coffee. Finally, I hadn't really used it because I was always afraid I was going to spill it during videos. So I was always using the one with the top on it. But that thing is pretty old and it's already just not working that well to get the coffee out. So I end up having really cold coffee because it takes forever to drink it. So my husband brought me coffee in my cup, and I've used this for tea before, and I think I've shared it before, but I just love it. It's my favorite color and two of my favorite things, Jesus and coffee. Well, person and thing. I got the creamer, a new creamer. Well, new to me, sort of. I've tasted it before, but I've never bought it. It was white chocolate mocha, the Starbucks brand from Walmart. Last time I bought the oat milk one, the brown sugar. It's like their brown sugar shaken espresso, which my brother had told me to try once, and it was really, really good. I got mine hot instead of cold because I do not really like cold coffee. So I got that creamer, but they didn't have it this time. Today I wanted to share another Dear Diary question that Letty gave me. This one is, have you ever had doubts about your faith? And if so, how do you deal with that? Well, I thought about this question when she first asked me. I thought, I've never doubted my faith. And in many ways, I haven't. But I have had doubts in certain aspects where I shouldn't have in my faith. So I'm going to talk about that. And hopefully, this can encourage others who have fallen into doubt and how to come out of it. And if you guys have ever doubted your faith or have any ideas, suggestions, any encouragement, please leave them in the comments below, because I love to hear from you guys, and I love to hear how people overcome things, and it's an inspiration, encouragement to others as well. So please leave those in comments below, and any questions that you have that you would like me to answer in future Dear Diary videos. So I have to say, I don't ever remember a time not believing that God was real, that Jesus was real, that the Bible was the truth, that the Holy Spirit was real. I've never doubted that. Uh-oh, there comes my kitty Luna, and she likes to get on top of my stuff. Let me move some stuff around. So I have to say, I've never doubted that. I've always known, deep within myself that it's real, and and I know that it's what I needed, who I needed to trust, and everything. Where my doubt has come is in actually trusting him with things that I'm going through with, and I guess it's my hair just keeps coming out of the headbands. Okay, sorry. I'm just I get nervous at these things because they start moving on my head, and then I'm like, I need some bobby pins or something to clip on there. But for me, my doubt always comes in when I go to him in prayer and I ask him to help me with a certain thing. Oh, there goes her tail. It's not so much that I don't think he can do it, because I know he can. I know if it's his will, he will heal me. If it's his will, he'll provide certain things for me. He'll open doors, whatever it is. So I know that, and I understand that, and I believe that. The problem comes when I leave things at his feet. When I say, okay, God, this is what I need. I need help in this area. I need I need to let this go, and I need you to fix it. I need you to fix it in the right way. And I have an issue with that. I pick it back up and I want to fix it myself. And part of that reason is because I doubt that I don't know if I'd use the word worthy enough, but important enough for him to pay attention to, or for him to want to deal with my stuff. I know he loves me. I don't doubt his love for me. I don't doubt that love has me where I'm at today, has brought me through many things. I don't doubt that love sent Jesus, Yeshua, to the cross to die for my sins and to give me eternal life. I don't doubt that. I guess it's just I have issues like believing that my stuff is important enough. Like, why would he want to deal with that? Why would he want to deal with my little whatever issue I'm going through? This coffee tastes so good. It probably even tastes better because my husband brought it to me, and I didn't have to go get it in the cold. But it's the issue of having, I guess, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and believing that I need to fix things on my own, believing that I have to be the one to help others and fix for others. And so I just assume that he should help other people. There's more important things. People who are worse off than me, with worse issues, with just things that I'm not going through. Or even if we have a similar struggle, like with health issues or whatever, to me it's just, well, yours is worse. It's or not so much that I think theirs is worse. It's more like, you're more important. I'll help you by either doing things for you, by taking your request in prayer and believing for that, and knowing that he will answer those prayers, even though I know he answers mine. It's a really pathetic place to be in, overall, because I know his power. I know that he could do all things all the time. He's everywhere all the time. He knows all things about all of us. Like I said before, he knows us better than we know ourselves. So he knows this about me. He knows where my doubt is. And he knows that if I don't get over this, it's going to be a really rough time for me when I'm trying to heal. And the enemy knows that about me as well, because he watches us. He watches how we react to things, how we do things. And he watches that, he knows that I've reacted in the past to my issues, my health issues, my whatever financial issues that I was having with panic attacks in my job, and having to quit, and having to drop out of school, and all the things that have gone on since I was a child. My reaction has always been, fix it myself. I'll pretend it doesn't exist. I will, I'll ignore it. I will focus on everybody else and just put mine away in that little safe place where I stuff everything else, in my little file cabinet that's bursting at the seams, stuck somewhere within my heart. It's fine. I'll get to it eventually. Well, eventually will never come, because with the attitude I have, I just assume that I can do it. I'm acting very, very controlling, very, where I'm not allowing God to do what he wants to do in my life. I'm not allowing myself to be the person that he's called me to be because I'm holding on so tightly to all of the things that he has told me to leave with him. And why do I doubt that he can do this for me and other people at the same time? I think I doubt that because I've always felt the need that I have to do it myself. And I've had to be there for other people, even when I was very young. When I was very young, I was like a little counselor for older people in my family, friends. I always felt like that was my role, is to be the one that helped others. And that's great. It is great. I think it's a wonderful gift to have, to be there for others, listen to others, and pray for others and help them and everything. But why am I doubting that he can do it for me? That he can, in the midst of all of this, every request that I brought to him for other people, every request that other people to bring to him, why can't I overcome this doubt and just leave it there? Give it to him and say, you know what? This isn't mine anymore. I'm walking away, and I'm going to live from a place of being loved and of being, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for to describe this, but it's just like, even when we do all the things that are wrong, we fall short all the time, as humans. And as children of the Lord, as children of our parents, we mess up, yet our parents still love us despite all the things that we've done. They still are there for us. They still provide for us when we need them. I mean, even now, I'm going to be 47 in a few days, and my dad is still there for me when I need him. Up until my mom passed away, they were both there for me when I needed them. For me, my sisters, my brother, in the ways that they could. And maybe that's where my doubt comes from. Maybe that's where my problem is. Maybe because I'm looking at God the Father as a human parent who only has so much that they can give because they're human. We can only do so much. We do our best. We give our best, and it's not always enough because we aren't perfect. We don't have everything at our disposal. And sometimes the thing is that what we need isn't what they can give us. It's what God can give us. And he knows that. So he might be holding us in a position to understand that we need to go to him, our heavenly Father, and as well as our earthly father, earthly mother, our siblings, our friends, and people that we've, our brothers and sisters in the Lord. Like, we can all be there for each other, but it's ultimately him. And maybe that's what it is. It's interesting. I just had an aha moment, one of those God wink moments when it's like, girl, this is what your problem is. You're looking at me as an earthly parent who doesn't have the capacity to do everything all the time, and he does. And I think I just needed to go through this question. Thank you, Letty, because I kept thinking, well, I know I've never doubted my faith in him. And I didn't even doubt the fact that he could do this stuff for me that I needed. I just was looking at it from the wrong perspective. I was looking at it like, well, he's my father, and as much as my dad can, he'll do his best. He always has. Him and my mom lived their lives for us. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but like, these are Dear Diary posts as well. So I kind of want to share some of the things that I remember from my childhood, and just kind of share some things that I think sometimes we don't realize when we're younger. And as I got older, I started realizing some things, like, when you come to that one age, which for me, it was like, somewhere in my 30s, I started realizing, hey, my parents are right about that. My parents are right about that. And maybe I should have listened to them more and stuff like that. We come to those places in our life where we begin to see where they did know what they were talking about. And now, like, my parents, my mom was about 20 years older than me. She had me when she was 19. She turned 20. She had me in February. She turned 20 that June. My dad was 20, turned 21 that May. So they were very young. When I look back and think about how I was at that time, and, I was, for the most part, very similar to kind of like the way maybe they were in their, in some of the things that they did. I don't know. Like, I was never the person who wanted to, I was always in church. That was my big thing. Even then, I was a church kid. So I was trying my hardest to be good. But even at that, I was very immature still. I didn't know a lot of stuff. I can imagine, just like, I haven't had children, but I imagine if I was 19, having my first child, being married a couple of years, and having my first child 19 and 20, right? And what do you do? You're barely, like, getting out into the world, learning about who you are. They were dating. Since they were in 8th grade, I believe. I'm not sure if my mom was 13 and my dad was 14, and he was 14, he was 15, something like that. But I think it was like in 8th grade. They were married when my mom was 17. My dad was 18. This was in January. So they turned 18 and 18 and 19, a few months after they got married. And I think about that. I'm like, I was 20. Well, I was going to be 25 when we got married. And that was still young. I think about that. I'm like, we were like kids, like we were young and still learning things. And so when I look at it now, like, I think that's where it is. I think it's my childlike mind when I was learning things, because like I said before, I loved church. I don't remember a time when I didn't believe. I remember sitting in those preschool classrooms when I was little, watching listening to the stories about Jesus and Moses and, Mary and Joseph and all of this stuff. And just like, that was the truth. No matter, like, I just knew it in my heart that was real, and that God loved me, and I needed whatever he had. I knew I needed that. So I knew that one day I was going to be baptized because Jesus did it. And I saw it, and he talked about it in just that beautiful scene. If you could see it in your mind, where he goes to John and he gets baptized, and there's this beautiful, like, scene right before you. And I think of that, I'm like, I want that. I want, that, if I wish I could remember exactly what it says, but I think it's like where they hear the voice of God, and he says something, "This is my son in whom I am well pleased," I think is what it said. I should have looked it up before, but I wasn't even sure I was going to talk about this. But we all want to hear, that. Well, of course we want to hear that from our earthly parents, but we want to hear that at the end, when we come face to face with the Lord, and you want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant." All right, so I didn't think these were going to get this emotionally intense, but it's when, I guess, when you think of the love that it took the creator of the universe to create everything the way he has. It's amazing. It's like you walk out and, like, okay, so where we live in the high desert, right? So we have different evergreens here. Oh, Sorry, my dog's shaking over there. We have our pinon trees and our ponderosa pines and junipers and cedars and the cactus and wildflowers and our sunflowers that I love so much, and just the wild roses growing in different places. We have, just this mountains, and we live in the Rocky Mountains in this range that comes through here is a Sangre de Cristo, which is just, like the fact that it's called that, excuse me, it's, it's the blood of Christ, and that's this mountain range near us. And I think about it and I'm like, it's just amazing that people back then, when they named these places, they had a love for him too. They knew him. They saw that love that he had to create this world for us, to give us the free will to choose him or not. And he knew exactly what was going to happen. He's omnis. Yeah, the word. I can never. But anyway, he knows everything all the time. He knows everything. He's everywhere, everything, right? So he knew what we were going to do. He knew what we were going to, how we were going to choose him, when we were going to choose him, but we have free will to do it, how we're going to do it. But it's like, it's just the idea of being able to see the future. He knows, he's just, and maybe he knows that we're all going to come to him, eventually. But the fact that we see in the Old Testament of all the sacrifices that had to be done, and it had to be a very specific way, very specific animal. It had to be kosher, holy. It had to be done just right, and just the clothing that the Levites had to wear. Like, it was very specific how they had to do it. The wash, everything was done a certain way because it had to be done that way. And then we come to a point where those sacrifices weren't enough because they had to do it so often, right? You had to do it every time, every so often this had to happen because we're sinful humans. We fall short. Left to our own devices without knowing who God is and having any morals at all, we tend to be, as a general rule, it seems, we tend to be pretty bad. Whether we go full on evil or not it just depends on us, I guess. But, we do have our things that we struggle with. And I just think, like, he must have known that he was going to send his son to live a life as a human, and to think he was sacrificed on that cross. He was like, 33 years old? And we see, like, so many people in the Bible lived hundreds and hundreds of years old and all this. And he had ministry that was like 3 years, where he was actively out in the ministry with the disciples, and he taught them all these things. And then he willingly gave up his spirit for us. He willingly went to that cross. He didn't have to. And he even prayed for that cup to be taken from him. But what did he say? But not mine, your will be done. And, isn't that the hardest thing sometimes? And I think that's the other part. It's like, why I hold on so tightly to my things and I want to fix them, because I want to fix them my way. Because I think I know better. And for myself, I know what I need, right? But he knows better. And he knows how it's supposed to be done, even though I'm like, I don't understand this. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting it this way? Why'd you bring me here? Why? It's like a little 2-year-old child. And I think of, like, doubting that he knows better. Maybe that's the other doubt I have, is thinking, well, I wanted it this way. For instance, when I talked about the tiny house thing in my last video, my last Dear Diary, I wanted a tiny house out of my own piece of land somewhere out in the mountains, or I wanted to have the RV, the bus, the big camper van, whatever. So me and my husband just go wherever we wanted all the time. And I want to get into that story about why I really lean towards that. There's reasons for it, but I'll get into that in another Dear Diary. But it's because I wanted those things because I thought that's what I needed. I wanted to just be able to get up and leave whenever I wanted. I wanted just to do as I pleased, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know where my mind was. I think it was just a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks, a lot of stuff going on. And I thought that would have been my peace, right? And all this stuff happens and we end up here in a tiny house in the middle of my favorite trees in the mountains in the Sangre de Cristos. They're just like right over there. I mean, we're technically in them, but you know, they're a little further back. The river's not that far, like I said. There's all the things that I wanted. They're just not how I wanted them. And maybe that's the other doubt I have, is just doubting that he knows better than I do. And I struggle with that still sometimes. You know, thinking about how do I deal with that? Well, this is part of how I deal with it. I deal with it through journaling. I deal with it through prayer. I deal with it getting in that word and just reminding myself of his goodness and his love for us, and that he knows better, and he knows what we need when we need it, and he gives us the desires of our heart, even when we don't understand them. Because, you know, there's so many things that I thought I wanted when I got them because I pushed for them. There's a story there. The one thing that I did once, and I wanted it, and I was going to get it, and I was going to beat that other person at this, right? So listened to that still small voice when he said, no, this is not what you need. This is not what you want. It's not going to go good for you. But remember, free will, right? And, you know, that Holy Spirit conviction kept saying, Kirsty, come back. Don't do it. But I kept pushing, no, I know, it's fine. It's going to be fine. You know, I'm going to do it. So finally he's like, okay, I have to let you, you know, go ahead. Well, I learned some really big lessons that year. And the lessons I learned affected my mental health, my physical health, my whole outlook on things for a very long time. I mean, I'm still dealing with some of that because everything I had from before, all that anxiety, all that struggle with depression, the panic attacks I was having since a child, that year that I took upon myself to think that I wanted this, it made everything worse. It heightened all of that stuff. It almost solidified the fact that what I was believing that the enemy was putting in front of my face, that I deserved these bad things, right? These things to happen. I believed it so much so that I stayed there for that time because this was solidified. This is what I was going to get. This is all I could get. This was it. This was what was happening to me. And I chose this and I had to stick to it. You know, it was that kind of thing because I never wanted to say I was wrong. It took me a while. Coffee stash. And it took some people to get in my face and tell me like it was. My parents, and they tried really hard to not push me. I mean, I was already in my 20s, but they tried to do it in ways that were not being overly like parenting, you know what I mean? But like Margie was there, my friend Valerie, who knew a lot of what was going on, and my boss that I had at the Optic at the time, David, who became a really good friend of mine. Like we were really good friends throughout the time, and I'm grateful that he would tell me like it was. He was also like, he believed, you know, he at the time, I don't know if he is now, but at the time he was Jehovah's Witness. And so we did have some differing beliefs and things, but from the advice and that brotherly advice that he gave me, he's a little older than me. He was like that, having that older brother, right? And he told me like it was. And sometimes I hated it, but I knew that he was coming from a place of you know, that from the place where faith was, the place where, you know, God was showing him. And I just didn't want to listen. You know, this is the other thing. I doubted that I deserved to get out of that. I doubted a lot of, I don't know, I had a lot of doubts in myself, I think is what it was. My doubts in being able to be loved correctly. And there's little Ginny, her little ears. She's the one that if you ever hear a cat talking, sounds like a little child crying or saying hi, it's her. I don't know if she'll let me pick her up to show you. Let me see. As we're inside, she has dreads though. She's a little old lady. She's about 16. Say hi, Ginny. There she is. Ginny. Say hi. Okay. There you go, girl. Go ahead. Yeah, she's got long hair, so we have to cut her dreads now that she's older. She's very, and then her nails they get stuck to everything for her. She's always been like that since she was little. But that's Ginny Genelope, or Ginny Genelopecius, or when we had given her to my niece when she was really little, we told them if they couldn't, because they were very busy, told them if they couldn't keep her, that they just give her back. So they had named her, well, my sister's boyfriend at the time, fiance at the time actually, he named her Dinder Fiddles. So she's also Ginny Dinder Fiddles, because we had named them before we gave them away, so we thought we had to keep them. So the three that, a couple of my friends that used to work with me have the other two, and we have her back. So she's got lots of names. That's just a cute little aside from my little baby there. But like, you know, it's just, I think my biggest doubt is that it's okay to allow God to love me. It's okay to allow him to provide for me. It's okay to take all of my things to him and leave them there. It's okay to trust him to do what he says he's going to do. Because, you know, humans fail. We fail each other all the time. And we know our parents fail us sometimes. And it's not because they want to. It's not because they're mean. It's not, I mean, there are some people who do deal with very horrible parents. I know. I heard the stories. I've seen it happen in people that I know. But generally speaking, our parents do the best they can. They love us the best they can, the best way they know how, because they're human like us, and they fail like us, and they sin like us, and they're struggling to learn things just like us. But because if we just realize that, we realize they are human. They fail. They deserve the mercy and the grace and the forgiveness that we're getting from them when we do something wrong, and that we get from the Lord when we do something wrong. When we go to him, we're not even deserving of that, and he gives it to us. So we need to believe that we can give that to others. And I think that's where the healing comes, is seeing when we are failed by our earthly parents, by our siblings, by our aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, our best friends, our significant others, that we do the same thing. And we need grace, and we need love, and we need forgiveness, and we need to give it to, and we need to rise above the doubt, because God loves us. Ultimately, that's it. That's it. That is how you deal with doubt, is understand that Yahweh, God, the creator of the universe, creator of all things, the one who knit you together in your mother's womb, the one who knows you, the one who knows how many hairs on your head you have, like Letty always says, the one who sent his only son, Yeshua, Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, to die for your sin and my sin and everybody else's sin, no matter who they are. Everyone, even those people that we know have done some horrible things in their lives. He died for them too. And they have the chance, just like we do, to go to him. And we don't know, maybe they did before they died. We don't know. We don't know those people. We don't know their hearts, but he does. And how we deal with that doubt in that faith is to know that no matter what we do, we can go right back to him and humbly go before him, repent of whatever it is that we're doing, give him every single issue we have, every single doubt that we have, and leave it there at his feet, and get up knowing that he's going to take care of it. Because after all, he is a provider of all things. He is our refuge. He's our shelter. He is our rest. He is the healer. We wouldn't have anything. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So he has a purpose for you. He put you here on this earth for a purpose. We mess up that purpose sometimes, or it takes us a while, like the Israelites. We walk around in circles for 40 years. Yeah. Because, I'm a prime example of that. I knew for a long time what I wanted to do since I was a child. I wanted to be in ministry. All I wanted to do is do something that glorified the Lord. I wanted to have a life where I could just spend time in the Bible, drinking coffee. I didn't drink coffee then, but, water, tea, whatever. Be in the Bible, have Bible studies, get together with other like-minded individuals and praise the Lord and pray together. I always wanted to have a women's group, and I did for a little while with my mom and my grandma and my aunt and my cousins, my nieces, and some friends, and it was amazing. But I'd give up quickly because I couldn't do it perfect. There's that stupid control freak, perfectionist attitude, right? That always ruins things because we allow it to ruin things. I couldn't be perfect. I couldn't fix everything for everybody. I couldn't fix my things, and then we're not going to do it at all. So I quit. And she stopped quitting things. But it took me, seriously, the year I turned 40, 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago in a few days, I started realizing things. I started realizing I needed to let go of that perfectionist attitude, but I never did. I still held on. Although I let go of bits and pieces, I started changing some things about myself. And it's taken me almost 7 years to even realize right now in this moment where my doubt was coming from. Because like I said, I was looking at the Lord, I was looking at God the Father as an earthly father, as a fallible human, instead of as God the Father, who is the ultimate creator, the provider of everything. He knows everything. He can do everything. And he will for us. We just have to let him. And I had to remember that my parents and everyone else around me is human like me. They mess up like I do. And I have to be honest with myself that I mess up. And it's okay. I just need to go and fix that, though, but in the right way, in a healthy way. Go to the Lord in prayer. Let him show me what I have to do. Ask for forgiveness. And do the same thing with people. Go to them and ask for forgiveness. And be the person who he called me to be. Find out who that is. Because you already know. I knew when I was a kid. I just went around in circles. Like the Israelites, 40 years, kept going in circles and circles and circles and circles, and being grumbling, complaining, human being in the wilderness, because that's what we do. It took me a long time. Like, I knew the word. I knew it. I loved it. I wanted to live it out and be with him all the time and just, all of that. But I doubted my capability in living out the purpose that he gave me, which is so stupid, right? Because he gave it to me, knowing that if I just go to him and say, okay, here, this is my purpose, right, that you gave me. I need you to help me live it out. That's it. That's all I had to do was say, hey, help me. I need your help. And let him help me. So see, here are all the God winks, all the epiphanies, the aha moments. We just need to overcome our doubt with his love, his grace, and his mercy. Because that's all that's going to get us through every single hard moment. Every moment that I sit, like, looking around me thinking, I want a bigger place. I want a desk to sit at. I don't know, this thing is like keeps going crooked. I don't know if I'm crooked now, but I want a desk where I can sit at instead of sitting on the bed and filming on a little tiny phone with a janky tripod that falls over. I want better lighting. I want. Instead of being grateful for what I have, doing with what I have, what He has called me to do, and then He will provide more. He will provide whatever I need as I grow in whatever it is that He wants me to do. Because every time that I try harder, every time, or let's put it this way, every time I do, because remember Yoda, do or do not, there is no try, one of my favorite quotes by Yoda. It is that. We can't just try it. We need to just do it. It may not be that great at the beginning. It'll get better once practice. It's the same thing in our faith walk and doing the thing that He called us to do. If I just do it, He's going to provide what I need because He told me to do it. He called me to do this and He's going to provide. And you know that every time I do it, He does provide. Like, I wanted to have Bible studies with people, but when I got sick, it was a lot harder. When I moved out here, I didn't have anyone close by. We don't have a car that I can just go anywhere I want. He provided these online groups for me years ago. And when He did, I was still working. And I didn't know that He did, that I was going to need them today, that I'm sitting here out in the country place where I'm far away from the people that I used to get together with in person. But He provided these amazing sisters in the Lord that I can get together with through online Bible studies, have little, FaceTime video calls with. I can join, like today, Lori from Life on Foothill had a live and it was amazing. It's so much fun, to just do that. I could do that here. I have the time for that. He's provided the time. Yeah, maybe because I did all kinds of crazy things that got my body to do what it's doing. And maybe that's my cross to bear, having these illnesses. Maybe that's my cross to bear so that I could be here. And so I can share with you guys. And so that I can meet these people. And so that we could live out our purpose in the Lord. I don't know. But I need to just remember that even now, even here, even in this situation I'm in right now, He loves me. And He's going to provide the next thing on this journey. And He's going to do the same for you. And He loves you right where you're at. No matter where that is, no matter how dark the times seem, and sometimes we don't realize it, but in our times where it's like great, the blessings are flowing, we're happy, we're healthy and everything, we tend to forget that He's providing that too. Sometimes we just get so caught up in all that. And then when we're down and out, we're like, oh, this is it. This is all I get. Why'd you put me here, Lord? Why'd you do? I know I've done this. The why me's. And why not me? Why not? Why should it be somebody else? It could be me. It's fine, right? We should just be okay and praise Him even here, because even here, even now, in the hardest of times, in the best of times, He is good. And there's a song me and Lori are talking about that. It's called Everything's Gonna Be Alright. And of course, Evan, I can't remember the name, Evan something or other. It's like English and Spanish. That song just hits. And it just reminds us that no matter what we're facing, no matter how good or how bad things are, everything's gonna be alright. Just stay focused on Him, stay in your word, continue to pray, count your blessings every day, and live out your purpose. Love on everyone. Love on yourself, because you need to love yourself. Remember, love your neighbor as yourself. We got to love ourselves, and we got to love others. And ultimately, we need to love Him with all that we are, with every fiber of our being, with everything that He gives us. We need to give back to Him. So I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm sorry this one got really, really long, but I hope that it's a blessing to you guys. And share your answer to the question, look, I'm reading the wrong one. Have you ever had doubts about your faith? And if so, how do you deal with that? Leave your answers in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave any questions that you have for future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless you. Bye.